Oh God, I love you. I see the wave. I see the wave. For some reason, I'm thinking of that song. I see you, baby. Shake that ass. Shake that ass. Shake that ass. I see you, baby. Is that even the lyrics? Like again, MJ has no idea what the lyrics are. I see you, baby. Shaking that ass. Welcome. Welcome to All to Love TV, where MJ talks a bunch of ass from her ass. No, but legit, I talk about love and manifestation in the truest sense, in innocence and love. Shaking that ass. Shaking that ass. It's just like so. It's 5:20 in the morning. MJ's having a party in her kitchen by herself, but not actually by herself because there's people on the other side of the YouTube screen having a party with her. I'm just suddenly thinking of my dear friend Karen Kuchin, who I did reach out to, and I haven't heard back from her. And I'm like, I hope she's okay. Yeah, so all y'all, if you want to message me on the old email, you're more than welcome to. I know that it's been intense, not just like these last few weeks, but like years in life for the true empaths who and I say that because I'm like, for the empaths who have been empaths their whole lives before there was all this thing about empath narcissism. So you feel me because you know what I'm talking about, because a lot of people apparently don't. They just are like they just use and abuse and lie and think they can get away with it. But now intuition is risen supreme and reigns supreme, and increasingly intuition can like smell the bulls, the dirty ball. Oh my God, what am I like? I didn't even know empath narcissism was a thing. I know I didn't either until I faced some really, especially and I didn't even know about narcissism until I was like in the spiritual community. And my like, I just wanted to like do good and be good and please and serve and be of service, and because I was of service and be of service and like give of self, and people would like take, and then I might be like, that's kind of like actually like I don't think I can give it that much, or da 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 da, and then they would like out of nowhere pull the rug out, and everyone would just like not talk about it, or people would like play the victim card and like say one thing like you're so wonderful and I'm like this, and this is how great and you should do this and you're like, oh, okay, and then you catch them out, you catch them spying, or you find out from somebody that they have these different ulterior motives or feelings, and it's entrapment, basically it's enslavement hardcore. And then usually those of us who have gone through these weird ass situations where we're just like, what the fuck, as in we're empathic, we've always just wanted to serve and be good and like be really truly like that's just been the natural set point. And then and then as adults we've faced these situations basically to cajole us out of our of our dream spell, i.e. facing people who are not in the same place. They're more narcissistic. They are much more in their ego. They're if anything, you could say they're even more wounded. Because I don't like the whole like pointing fingers, blaming and attacking, because we're still all one. The empath is attracting the narcissist for awakening purposes, and I don't know what will happen to narcissistic people, like to each their own. I imagine they'll just continue to kind of go around and find, I mean, my observation is that as well, they'll just find one victim after another to kind of do their bidding and feed their victim story, about how bad or sad their lives are, or how, whatever it might be, because each situation is different, right? But they're not they're much more consumed with like what their life looks like, about the stories they're upholding, like the projected mask of I'm a good person, or I'm a spiritual person, or I'm a sexy god, or I'm a really epic guy, or I'm this, or I'm that, but they're not, like, in truth they're not vibrating that, and so they like go around to find people like us to feed their ego. And as long as we're in people pleasing patterns, I just did a share on that on Facebook, we do that. We fulfill the role until we don't, until we wake up and flee, or wake up and run away, or call them out and say you're fucking with me, or you're lying to me. And that's why I did the share yesterday, because somebody, and I'm not even calling like these people narcissists, because I'm like, I don't even like to kind of pin people into definitions, but this is just a gateway for us to open up a conversation about human behavior, and how I'm not here to make excuses for myself or other people. To each their own. I'm just more aware of energy. I'm more aware of intuition. I'm more aware of like having this pure heart in truth of like, this isn't because it's trendy to be vegan. I'm not doing this. I didn't write this book because it's suddenly trendy to be an empath. The book came from my guided journey from 20 years ago, having a spiritual awakening. And being aware of, because I've always been a lone traveler, I always just like descend onto places. And then, so I have a very unique perspective, because a lot of humans just stay where they're born, or they don't uproot. They don't go to other places. They don't, they don't travel on their own. So those of us who do, it's just like observing the human behavior, feeling into the collective consciousness, and then feedbacking off of my own personal direct experience, going, whoa, fuck, man, this life is incredible. It's just so intense. It's just like it's everybody wants it to be glamorous, and everybody wants the good energy, and everybody wants the quick fix pill. But in my experience, there's none of that. And plus, I'm just tired of being suckled on covertly, i.e. I've just been, over this last cycle, burning through the layers that have been linking me into these quote unquote narcissists who lie and steal and try to kind of gaff you into doing their bidding for them. And I'm like, no, I wrote a book about self-responsibility. You're responsible for your happiness, not me. And then because I've been playing this online life, I'm like, you can just, like everybody else, you can watch the stuff I broadcast, for free, because that's being of service. Then people wanting more from that, I'm like, no. Fuck you, man. Do your own joyful, exuberant life. There ain't enough MJ titty to go around. Bjork behavior. I don't even know that. No, God, Olivia, it's so true. Like, this is the thing that just like, oh, but this is so relevant to these last few days and the shares that are coming through about that's entitled privilege, though, for you. Kids that had their mommies being like, you're such a little, you can have everything. Oh, I'm going to wipe your ass forever and ever, and then they just go around into adulthood, get given their education, get given their jobs, get given all their stuff, just have it all fucking handed to them. And they just assume the world is their fucking slave. And I am, like I'm so perved out by it, especially in the spiritual community, because that's the false light where everybody's like, oh, spiritual, love and light. It's so wonderful. They meet someone like me, they're like, oh, that's so wonderful and that's so shiny, not realizing the fucking depth of work that I've had to do and the fact that it hasn't been handed to me. So the polarity is like, fuck you, man. And then they're like, oh, that's so unspiritual. I'm like, you haven't fucking got a clue what spirituality is. Because you're not connected. You just assume the world should fucking suck your cock whenever you want, and it don't. Not no more anyway. Boom. Because in truth, spirituality is the connection to the all that is. And the all that is a spectrum of polarity that is so deep and dark that most people don't want to go there. But they want to fucking suckle at the teat of all the light. You know, they want all the glamour and they want all the beauty and they want all the feel good. Let's feel good. Let's all have good vibes. Oh, you're good vibes. Let me just hook into you for a little bit. No, fuck you, actually. Do it yourself. You get those good vibes from going within and transforming your shit, not by hooking into other people. It don't work like that. And it is in my endeavoring in truth that my service is for the vulnerable people of the planet, that my service is for the people who don't have access, who are being oppressed by those fucking bastards. Oh, God, see, I'm on a total effing tangent, you guys. I'm on a total tangent. You can borrow some of my gators if you want. Thank you, you guys. The higher self is an amazing real life actor. Isn't it just something? So I went to that speed awareness workshop yesterday, and at one point they were like, it was really, by the end, I was just like, it's time to go. MJ's got to get out of this environment for sure. Oh, Julie, hi, oh, hi. Where was it? Gotta get the higher self. That was a trigger point. And then so he was saying about like 93. So it's all like 3D reality, driver error. And he's just like, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I mean, like basically the humans are the weakest link, and it's not the motorway fault. It's not the speed camera fault. It's not the car fault. It's you loser. Like it's the error is always down to the human. And they were like 93% human error. What's the other 7%? Or so, anyway, something came about like we're only conscious. We're only ever conscious for like 20 minutes at a time or something like that. And then they were like, you know, we're only conscious. So we have an hour drive. Who's driving the other 40 minutes? And I'm like, higher self. I didn't speak it out loud. I just said it in my mind because I didn't think it was quite the right audience for my spiritual chit chat at the Speeding Awareness workshop, which was an interesting experience. I got to see. I know some of you might have noticed this, but I got to see the Bristol Stadium, which was like cool for a moment, and then I was kind of over it and like just checking the time constantly, if you know what I mean. Bristol Stadium. How cool. I thought that was cool. I made it cool for myself. Oh yeah, I did a share on YouTube yesterday at the Speedy Awareness workshop. You know what? I've totally gone off a rage. I'm quite fiery. I must be heading. I know, like I must be. What's happening? It's my body. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's heading into premenstruation. So I'm going into the depths of the wisdom vibrashe, and feeling the fire. The fire of the divine feminine is coming through to call out the bullshit. Oh, hi, Gigi. Oh, Gigi's back with her, and I recognize the Gigi. Well, apparently perfected the Southern accent, and also, what was the other one I do? Oh, Scott. How could I forget the Scottish accent? But I don't. It's not perfected. It's only perfected when it comes out in pure flow. Like I'm trying to think if I try to do a Scottish accent, it feels a little contrived, doesn't it? But sometimes when it's just like on flow and all jizzy jazzy joking, it's like quite good. I'm like, what the fuck is that shit? Okay, and here you go, you guys. Look. So I've asked John Beanie, except I don't know for sure he's actually in Scotland right now because I know he's been traveling a lot. But I've basically asked John Beanie to try to get a few copies of this. So this is the article that was written for my mom. Has, as you know, my mom got deported from the UK, and look at my chubby little cheeks. That's me and my mom back in Liverpool in, I think, 2008. Oh no, I think I just got back from India, so it was like 2010 because mom came to visit regular. She's the only one of my family members who does. My sister's been once and my dad never. So I'm like, and then my mom got deported like 2 years ago. And after spending a lot of money and making a formal application, like totally above board, like no laws are broken. And the weirdest thing is like because she made a legal application, didn't break any laws, when she came back to visit, they detained her for 9 hours just to send her back to Canada. And I'm like, okay, like she's come to visit her daughter for every year for like 10 years or 15 years, but because she made a legal application, you're deporting her like a Commonwealth citizen. It just, anywho, so there's this really cool journalist, Marcello Mega, who got wind, who somehow, this is like my mom's noodling and digging around, got wind of my mom's story and decided to publish it. So this is a picture of the article. Guess what page it's on, you guys? 11. And I've asked John Beanie to get hold of a few copies, plus my other friend Rosie to get hold of a few copies if they're in Scotland. Plus, I think the journalist himself is going to send it to me. Makes no sense, right? But like, does anything in the system make sense? Really? Like, does a debt-based economy make sense? Only if you want to continue to live in fear and enslavement. And only if, again, in our privilege, we think that the poverty and suffering and oppression of the planet has nothing to do with us. Why are those people so poor? Anyway, I'm not here. Well, fuck it, whatever. I'm just like a human blabbing, just like Trump and all this. Oh, so I randomly said this as well, like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Now that the UK has this Boris fellow leading the country. Like, these are not leaders, you guys. These are just traumatized men who are like puppeteering for the elite. I mean, come on. You fucking know the truth. And then that's my quote. Like, so the big heading is like my quote from like what I wrote for my mom about like, where's the justice in kicking out my innocent mom, a Scot by birth, who has nowhere to call home. It makes me sad. Anyway, we shall find justice shall reign supreme for the innocent hearted on the planet Earth. I really appreciate you guys being here. It makes my fucking day. So like all of that juicy nuggets of MJ had love that bush was to do with the share today, which was about how to care for yourself. I went to a cafe to do some work, but like truly, I was intending to do work, and then I got to talking to the lady at the. And it was so funny because we were chatting, and then I kind of did that thing of like opening my computer was open, and I kind of like turned to my computer and got my hands ready to start typing, and she was like, "Oh, I'll let you get on with your work." I'm like, "Okay." But then she just started talking again. And then I'm like, I'll close my computer and like engage. And I'm always, unless it's something else, I'll always open myself to have those kind of chats in a cafe because, I feel emotion. Yeah, just because I feel for people who are lonely, and I think about my mom, and I think about, yeah, like chatting to people who you can just feel like want to talk. So this lady works, she's retired and she works in mental health and she works in politics, which and she's spent a long time being depressed. So I'm like, that's oh, emotion, premenstrual. Um, yeah, yeah. You can tell sometimes people just need someone to talk to. And so I like if I'm there, I'll be able and I have time and all that. I want to talk to people. Um and she's in mental health, she's in politics, so there's definitely like a resonance with my mom's story, which I didn't even know that it was getting published today, but it was published today or even yesterday or today. And then the mental health and her in politics and all this kind of stuff led us into talking about self-care, and then eventually she did ask, about what I do, and um i I let her know about my time at Yotown and teaching yoga and professional success in teaching yoga meditation to international folk from various walks of life. And it's something as I work on my next project that I'm like, wow, I've literally taught yoga to like babies. I've taught yoga to toddlers. I've taught yoga to literally like every single age bracket and demographic of this world, except I've not actually gone into like prisons or anything, but I would. um, and now that I'm volunteering at Street Folk for the homeless, I'm sure I can. And then because I met this woman, Erica, yesterday, I'm sure that I'll be able to like access, offering this kind of stuff. And this is part of the next sideline project that I'm working on is having a company that works in different sectors so that we can basically funnel money from one sector into another. So like through the company, basically subsidize providing the same work to schools, um, prisons, and my business partner is like well up for it. It's total alignment and like just all guided from the above, the divine. So mega love vibrashe. So that led to this share about like care for yourself the way you need. And ultimately like nobody else can. Obviously we support, we reflect, we share for one another in the way that we do, just that's it. But really truly like the self-care piece, the self-love piece is such a unique like just such a unique process. And yeah, I could say in my book is the only way. It's just so not the truth. Like there's a resonant connection with empaths and sensitives and intuitives and emotional folk. But it doesn't mean that everyone's going to have the same way of loving themselves, and how we access non judgment and self love when we're in the shits, when bad stuff is happening to us, when we're feeling shame or when we're feeling guilt or when we're feeling those sort of things, how to still love that and how to still show up for ourselves when we feel like a piece of junk DNA or, when we're perhaps falling prey to social conditions of what our life is meant to be or isn't meant to be or and we can still show up. And that's I guess that's the permission slip here of like uh, self-care and you figuring out kind of just without any apologies or any shame for that matter, although we continue to transfer the shame. How do we just keep loving ourselves and caring for ourselves and I think I say this because again in some of our love light or spiritual communities there's this like oh, spend time in nature, da, da, da. And there's and again a lot of marketing material about like this is what self-love will look like. And like I'm aware that like the continuing depth of all this, it's like it doesn't look like anything, because self-love can just like self-love can just be letting myself cry. Self-love can be going for a walk. Self-love can be just sitting on my arse and eating crisps all day. Self-love can be smoking joints all day. Self-love can be like, in a sense, isn't it weird I'm getting this now? I'm like, the truth of self-love is just non-judgment. But wowzers, isn't it a thing to transform our judgment, to really have the balls to look at oneself and transform the judgment that we carry? Because whether it's self-judgment or judgment, because most empaths would be in shameful and guilty patterns of self-judgment. So part of the polarity, say, of the empath narcissistic thing is that a narcissist goes around blaming everybody else. An empath is somebody who's lived a life where they've constantly blamed themselves, right? I'm disgusting and horrible. I'm a big pile of shit because I couldn't do that and I couldn't make them and I couldn't please them. So the polarity of transformation is that we have to learn to love the self unapologetically for the totality of our experience, right? And stop beating ourselves up or for other people's misdemeanors. Stop blaming ourselves for the chaos of the world and instead get clear and authentic and real and own your ability to not be in judgment toward the self, because in truth the empath, I would say, isn't going around judging other people who are too busy judging ourselves, right? So the freedom break in the rise of the empath is that we're no longer pleasing the people in judgment and in blame and attack into the external, right? I don't know. Matab, I don't actually have direct experience like some people do with suicide you're talking about. Mm. I don't have direct experience. I don't have any dear friends or any family members who have committed suicide. My own experience with the bottom of the barrel of depression and attempting suicide, and not doing it, was ultimately because you don't want to die. There's something else, and so the attempt of the suicide is, ugh, I'm emotional today. The attempting is actually just a cry for help. It's like maybe my mom will notice the slits on my wrist and take me to see somebody, you know? Um, I'm just reading through some of your comments, you guys. Yeah, Elliot, I feel that. I feel that across the different sectors. Success is also a cry for help. Indeed, and a kind of, it has to do with the community as well, and a kind of trigger point. Pardon me, a trigger point of suffering for like a deeper depth. Oh, Olivia. Oh, you're so like, I know the feeling, the depth of loneliness is so unbearable, but like you're so loved. Oh, and it is. It's the biofeedback of that empathy can be just, and that's part of me, writing the book and knowing I need to show up for people, is that I also like spend a lot of time alone, and I spend a lot of time just in the depth of emotion, with people that don't seem to have the same, depth necessarily, although I believe they do. I really do believe they do. Dispersing of energies they can no longer contain. Yeah, and then that's like a ripple effect out into the community of the one who has taken their life, right? So the one who's taken their life, then um, that is a biofeedback and then ripples out into the energies. And so there's certain energies that need to be acknowledged within that community when that when that soul goes, which would have been on some people would say that would have been a contract. Like I feel like with some like children who get cancer or young people who die from freak accidents and stuff, that's very much like soul contract to teach. Similarly to like Down syndrome birth, or like autism, and like people who are afforded the privilege of like those unique souls, that they have very unique things to learn on their life path, and that's why they're given the opportunity to be a guardian um, for them, right? And yes, a contract, right? Yeah. There's loneliness, yeah. Ugh. Um, I have a little hope for you, and I will endeavor. I'll share it on the old Instagram and the Facebook. I wouldn't. The community page on YouTube doesn't allow me to share in the same way, so I can't do like a multi share. Although I can try to like create something and or um also refer you to the page. I don't know if you guys ever tune into Astrolata on YouTube. She's an astrologer, and look at could you see that little bit of makeup on my eyeball? um, but she's written some very awesome energy updates about 2020, which essentially I saw an astrology thing saying that like obviously, yeah, we have the Gregorian calendar, and so 2020 technically starts January 1st, 2020. But for a lot of the astrologers, according to another story, I guess is a simple way to put it, 2020 is starting not long from now. The 2020 energetic codes are starting around possibly the equinox, so like September 18th or 22 or something like that. So the 2020 astrology is starting now ish, and it has something to do with, I think, Saturn. Any of you astro wizards out there, if I'm wrong, you just correct me, but it's something like that. Jazz hands. Jazz hands. Okay, so basically, Astrolata. I don't. I feel a bit silly. Is that her name? Astro Wizards. Super agree. Good, 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 good. Saturn goes direct on the 18th, right? And so Saturn is like one representative of like the taskmaster of the matrix system, but then that's all being Lada Dukevna. Yeah, that's her. Why did I say Astrolada? That's like a website, isn't it? But thank you, Olivia. So yeah, Lada, basically. She's this really quirky I want to say like Polish or Russian or Ukrainian. She feels to me like a um, Eastern European um, goddess, basically. That's what I know her of. Maybe that's what she calls herself, Elliot. Anywho, you guys, so now I'm sharing with you where I got this information, because for a lot of us, this is like essentially why we came to planet Earth and what we know in the truth of our beingness. And it's all connected to our purpose and our gifts and abilities as empaths and stuff. But so, and like, and in fairness, this is the shit I've been talking about. I'm like, I know all of this, but nobody fucking believes me except for like a dozen people on YouTube land, and you're all scattered around the planet, you know? So it's like, and except I'm realizing now that it is actually happening. Like now I'm talking to people like in like people are in the 3D reality, but what I'm talking about is somehow resonating with them. I'm like, I got shoes. They're multiplying. And I'm losing control. Okay. So 2020, a year to remember, the start of a new world system. I repeat, the start of a new world system. Preparing the 2020 video, blah, blah. Anyway, you can read that. 2020 will be intense and important, especially for the cardinal signs. So I don't know if you guys know, I'm Aries sun and Capricorn rising. Fucker. And I think I've got Libra and like Mercury or some bullshit. So I'm like a lot cardinal. And so it's going to be intense. I'm like, no, but it's cool. I'm ready for it. Bring it. Bring it. Because I'm cardinal, whatever. I'm born for this shit. And especially for the cardinal signs, Aries, Capricorn, Cancers, and Libras. Mars will be retro Aries square Saturn. So a lot of life changes triggered by crisis and pressure. Fuck. And I'm thinking, I literally sat with this and was thinking, maybe I've already been through it, all the pressure and the crises. I'm like, I literally don't know how I could handle more pressure or crises at this point in my life, because I'm just on the precipice of unknowing directionlessness. But then I'm like, I'm doing my divine work. So I'm like, clearly, and plus I feel amazing and abundant and legit transformed. So I'm like, whatever. Like for real, I feel great. And the intuition is so spot on that I'm like, damn. I feel like Glinda, the lovely witch of the West, or no, East, or I just feel like a light witch, basically, like a superhero. It's Badars. Badar. Okay, triggered by crisis, the need to overcome challenges and pressure from the outside, but they will surely take these on with initiative, Aries. That's me. And will even instigate these. They will. Oh yeah, see, maybe I have done it. So thank you. The wonderful witch of the North, Glinda. Thank you, you guys. Because as soon as I said West or East, I was like, but I'm pretty sure that's the other witch. But then I'm like, I can do both. Radical. But I would never want to hurt little Toto. And I would never want to enslave the monkeys. You know, like it's one of those for sure. So Aries and we'll even investigate. So I'm like, I feel like I've been a precursor to like maybe what's going to happen to other Aries and Capricorns, because I've instigated all of these changes from within self. Let's see. Oh, was that a witchy laugh? Yes, it was. Yes, it was. So Matab, in my opinion, that's 2020. It's not really functional in such a way. I think it has a lot more to do with disclosure. I think that's a little bit of fear mongering, to be honest. Because they'll instigate the changes and they will not go down as victims. Damn straight, cardinal signs. We're gonna fucking pioneer this shit with compassion and love, but make dynamic changes to fix problems and take cardinal new directions, i.e. alto love, moflo lovers. Let's love each other, not keep blaming and attacking. These huge changes will be in their physical body, health and career. Transform. and or family. Big surprises, more on love and money. Yes, bring me the money. Bring me the money. Kind of don't care about love no more, but I love myself, so it's all good. Emotional life is coming for the mutable signs. Mutable signs, anyone? Anyone? Mutable signs? um, Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, but less for the Virgo and the Pisces because Venus will be retrograde in Gemini with the karmic nodes Rahu and Ketu moving to Gemini, Sagittarius. So a lot more emotional depth for these signs. So Sagittarius and Gemini are basically going to be having emotional awakenings, faded meetings and relationships, sudden change of heart or preferences and values, important people coming in and leaving their lives. While the fixed stars are getting ready for Saturn's transit into Aquarius, where we'll start teaching its lessons of patience, hard work, humility, conservative and cautious approach, discipline, and structure. Yeah, I get that because a lot of the like the Leos, the Tauruses, and stuff are going to have structural shape shifts in their realities. They've been fixed in one platform and now they're going to have to structurally upgrade and shift. And to cap it all off, in 2020, in December 2020, Jupiter joins Saturn in Aquarius and marks the beginning of a new 240-year cycle, which will change society and the ruling structures and elite of the world. There it is. Okay, so the dawn of the new age of Aquarius is really coming. In the last 240 years, Jupiter and Saturn, the planets which determine who rules the world and what political and financial times we live in, have been joining together in earth signs, which brought in the age of materialism, consumerism. The power is in the hands of those that create the tangible things. Right? So those who then created the systems, those who created the money, they're the ones who get to have the control. That's what's changing. But from the end of 2020, its laws, Jupiter, and government power, Saturn, will change hands. The resources will be distributed more equally to everyone. That's Aquarius for you. Over the next 240 years, knowledge and science and even astrology, as they are all represented by Aquarius, will become the new power. Social benefits and care for everyone in society will become the new moral and political norms. That's how we all know that we're at the leading edge of the movement. We're pioneering the movement. We're not retarded or sensitive or, insane for caring. We're leaders of the new, in essence, because we care, because we can feel the oneness in the heart of humanity. So those of us who have had all this challenge and depth or whatever, we're rising into manifestation mastery so that we can lead the way in quantum shifting the rest of humanity in the age of Aquarius, which is now. The intrinsic value of human life will become primary. That's obvious. And that was what was obvious to me in my awakenings when I was 19 in Vancouver, was I was like, but surely the resources aren't what's really valuable. We're valuable because we're the ones creating the world, right? I'm like, the economy was never this separate thing to me. I'm like, yeah, but humans made money. Why is everybody chasing it like it's something? I'm like, we made it and we can change it if we want to, right? The intrinsic value of human life will become primary. A more humanistic and equal era is ahead, where the voice of the normal people, what? Hey, normal people, how are you? I'm a normal person too, and I care about you. So yeah, where the voice of the normal people, Aquarius, will be the real power and not those who have the money and resources as it has been for the last 240 years. Ooh, I got chills. They multiply. I believe, so this is Astro, say, or late Lada. I believe that finally a true democracy will come to reign on Earth. At least we will be alive to see the process starting to happen. We're making it happen because we are the way. That the truth shall set you free. Thine is the kingdom. Okay, the royal conjunctions of Saturn and Jupiter in air signs kicking off the end of next year will usher in an age where we will master human relationships, which some of us are here practicing. Yeah. Air signs are all human signs and better treat each other. As in usher in an age where we will master human relationships and better treat each other, obviously, right? Hence us being able to uproot these emotional abusers, these covert narcissists, this shitty way of behaving on the planet, because we're becoming more aware of quantum manifestation. So it means that everyone's intentions are super important. And some people have shitty intentions because they're trying to hide from the depth of their responsibility as a human. They're trying to hide from their own shady behavior or their own corruption or whatever. So anyway, the Earth royal conjunctions of the past 240 years helped us master the physical laws of Earth. Great. And its physical resources. And now we're overusing them and abusing them, which is also the trigger point for more awakenings. But watch how after 2020, all the focus and breakthroughs will be on a quantum laws. Hi. Those of us who are vibrating here, we're starting to understand quantum manifestation and the quanti-reality of our existence. Hence this idea of multidimensionality and the spiral dynamic of existence itself. We're not linear beings, we're not finite beings, we're infinite beings on this infinite spiraling timeline, and we're all co-creative in this sort of cross-section of a cosmic creative field that we call Earth. And that the quantum evolution is ultimately what many of the humanity here is here for this generational experience. It's a soulful endeavoring to be in finite form and to experience our own evolution in this form in a co-creative field of existence. It's totally effing miraculous and awesome, which is why most of us have endeavored it. And of course, we wouldn't be able to feel tangibly the exhilaration of this quantum shift if we hadn't endeavored the depth of darkness that we've been to. Quantum laws in physics, which is almost like magic to us, i.e. manifestation, magic, what, we magic, labo. Okay. And yeah, so yeah, we're breakthroughs will be on, so 2020, this is next year, my friends. This isn't 40 years from now or 2005, blah, blah, blue, blue. This is now. And then next year, it's just going to all be ramping up. So you just get ready. Yeah, we'll be on quantum laws in physics, which is almost like magic to us, but we know we are magic, divine portals of creation. What did Chris say? It's feeling very vortexy. I'm with you there for sure. And mastering the invisible waves of energy of the universe. So that line right there kind of to me feels like my own purpose. I'm like, these last, like building up through my transformational cycles, and then this last essentially like 3 and a bit years has been me riding the waves of the invisible energy. So I'm aware that no one else could like see what was happening inside me, where I was actually feeling and encountering in my existence. That's what living on flow means, is that you're basically living in the invisible realms, allowing your being to ride the waves. Saul's mental grip, Saul's mental control, and that's the energies of the universe. Hence, that Yogi Bhajan Yoga Sutra of the Aquarian Age, vibrate the cosmos and the cosmos shall clear the path. So I haven't had any obvious like path necessarily, but I've just been vibrating the cosmos, and the cosmos keeps a day to day and more narrow timeline, increasingly like no idea what's coming next, but here I am. And it's like just keep showing up. So it's like mastering the invisible waves of the energies of the universe. Hello tribe. You guys understand what I'm saying on a vibrational level. Except all of us have a different mental way of discerning, and we have a different function on the planet because we're all in different parts of the planet and we're all doing different work. Yummy gooey goodness. It makes me want to eat a cookie. Okay, so I see that after the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius, we will start ubiquitously using flying devices. Interesting. Aquarius as a means of transportation. So that's not far off, right? But think about like us in the 80s babies growing up watching things like hovercraft in, what's that movie? Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future. I think the second one, he had like a flying skateboard. And then also those of you who Back to the Future. And then those of you who res with me, it's like, remember we grew up watching the Jetsons? Do you remember that cartoon? And in the Jetsons, they flew from one home to another. And so in our consciousness, we've already been embedded and planted with the vision of hovercraft transportation, because let's be honest, earthbound, petroleum-based travel is just not economical, and it's like, yeah, it's debt based, right? Versus the other. He's born on your birthday. What? What's your birthday, Elliot? Let's be honest, Michael J is a bit of a ledge. And I'm pretty sure he's Canadian, actually. Look at us. Nationalism comes through when it comes to claiming celebrities. Like Jim Carrey is one of us. Keanu Reeves is one of us. I mentioned the legends, obviously. Ryan Gosling is also Canadian. He's also married, so whatever. Part 3 is weird. I fell off the Back to the Future train after part 3. I never really got it. Chris. Burnaby. Burnaby's a place in in Western Canada. Oh, you're 85, are you? June 9th as well. What is that? Are you Gemini then? I believe you are. Gemini, so that's all this like depth of emotion stuff is going to come through, and having quite dynamic shifts around relationships, but also preferences, which is interesting, isn't it? With the depth that you've been sifting, as far as I'm aware, anyway. Yes, sir. I mean, not that we're bound to those astro signs in any way, because we're all so unique, but you know what I mean. I'm trying to think. 85. So that's 30. So you just turned 34. Yeah, huge. 33 is such a big year for me as well. Okay, the new energy source. Am I still reading this? Like, or what? Let's wrap her up, MJ. I'm just getting sleepy now. The light is starting, the sun is starting to rise. As means of transportation, petroleum and gas from the earth will no longer be the energy we use, which obviously you can imagine is another massive shift, right? Like that, the oil barons, like the oil conglomerates, are not going to be the ones ruling or dictating the rule, right? Because the resources that we're using en masse are going to shift. Hence, power to the people. Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of us have massive shifts and activations in that year. Ooh, right. Gotta love a Margaret Atwood novel. So there, I mean, that is a functional shift and systematic shift as well that relates to plastic industry as well. Will no longer be the energy we use. It has been for 240 years of Earth sign royal Jupiter and Saturn conjunctions. So it's almost like we've been purging the Earth of black goo. And now we're starting to run out. So the black goo is being purged, leading us to the new energy source will become wave technology, quantum manifestation, right? Understanding the invisible, Tesla stuff, but next level and en masse. Quantum technology and the power of the air, which, you know, we've been, it's all like overlay over each other anyway. The sign of Aquarius is 2 waves, but they don't represent water. They represent invisible waves like brain waves, internet waves, and cosmic waves. A grand return-ish, for sure. Well, those of us who are in the remembrance, right? I mean, like those of us who are in the divine remembrance of the kind of oneness, we recognize that it's just a perpetual cycle. It's like in a perpetual infinity loop. So the grand return-ish, yeah, exactly. It's like we're always in that. We're always in that, essentially. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And also I think it's one and the same as our own effective regenesis. So as we bridge the self into that quantum regenesis, The black goo has nothing to. Black goo to me is really kind of a stagnation as well, under the veil of darkness, that kind of that perception belt, right? The black goo can only reside in a stagnation zone. So it's the perpetual flow, i.e. aligning with the wave function, that allows the black goo to be kind of purged out with these waves. We let the waves come through us. That's the purging of the black goo, in essence, of the density of ourselves, right? However we want to call it. It's important, and this is where I think sometimes the mind can get a bit muddled with it. We think it's something external to self, but none of it is. It's our own clearing out of density, right? Mindless consumption. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and this is what we won't have the privilege of anymore with the shift, and that the karma has to be faced. That's part of, I think, the age of Aquarius. A lot of stuff that we've been through is, um again, on the leading edge of what we hold space for the masses to start shifting through a lot quicker, and mass exodus, to be detached about it, a mass exodus. So like people, beings leaving this realm because they don't want to go into the higher frequency belts. And they just want to live in that, so they go to their cosmic origins or their own source points, and then um they can continue to return to earth when she's back in that frequency, or reset and then return when they're clearer and higher vibrational, in essence. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm loving it. Might make sense to some people. Anywho, year of crucifixion. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hence the kind of transformation, right? The holy transformation in the 33 year, because I was 33 as well when I took the 2016, beginning of 2016. So it was like right at the end of my 33rd years when I took the leap into this like here now phase. So it's, yeah, totally a big shift year. It's like 27 Saturn Capricorn, or there's something significant about our 27th. I mean, we often have really big pressurized changes then too. I know what you were saying. Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And this is why I'm like, sometimes I'm speaking things that I'm like, yeah, like I'm not even sure where they come from necessarily. 28 is Saturn return. Right. I was in India. Um, yeah. And so at 27, 28, 27, well, I had that 27 was the end of one phase and the beginning of another one for me. As in no more chasing acting, just do yoga. Just do yoga lots and teach yoga. My Saturn return ends this December. What? So you've been through You've been through some big changes then, for sure. For shizzles, my nizzles. Oh, I just looked over at 57:57. So I was gonna go, my friends. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I've got work. You guys, I've got work to do. But I do actually. Um I have some juicy, juicy work to do. There's our card. This is it. I think we're in this penultimate sort of breakthrough energy. So just stay positive. Keep those thoughts aligned with your heart and soul. Be true to the self. Be aware of not feeding the collective paradigm or other people's worries or fears. Sustain your integrity, to hold space, but not feed it. I love you guys. Sleep well, wherever you are. Yeah, hold on tight and let go of everything else. Just hold tight and let go, because I don't think we can consciously know what's coming in exactly, but I feel like it's pretty epic too. Lots of love for you, all of you. Massive, massive love. As always, this is the platform for MJ's business. If you want to buy the book, feel free to do so. If you want to go book a intuitive reading or book a session, please feel free to do so. I really, 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 really appreciate it. Rent is coming up, so bring it. I love you guys. Lots of love. Peace out. I He smiles like influenza. Thanks, Elliot. How about virtual hugs, virtual hugs. I'm giving you all a virtual hug and so much love, hot vibration. Oh, hi, Jill. Oh, nice to see you here. Mwah. Have a beauty night, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. I love you guys so much. Peace.